Hello, this is Kevin. I'm doing a review of my own car for Amy and her website. So this is the first one I'm going to review today. So here it is, the first one. It's a Ferrari 488 Pista. So this is a 2019 model, and I've had it for almost a year now. And most people are probably familiar with the car. So it's based on 488 chassis, but what they've done is they put the Challenge race car engine into this car, and with that, this has extra horsepower and extra torque that's available in this car, and also arrangements in terms of the suspension to make sure that this car is closer to a track-ready car as opposed to a comfortable street car. So it's got the nice goodies that Ferrari puts in usually for these limited series cars. This is a limited series car. That means they run them for a limited time, and in terms of ordering them, but they're not numbered. So, people most of the time think about Ferraris and how they might appreciate in value, but usually those are the cars that are numbered. They're not necessarily the cars that are limited series. So this is a limited series car, and as far as I know, they've made something like 1,200 of them for the U.S. and in coupe version, and maybe another 600 in spider format. So starting with the license plate. So I'm gonna let you guys first guess what that is. And so now I'm gonna tell you what it is. It stands for linear turbo. So this is a pretty interesting feature of Pista. So as everybody knows, turbo cars usually have a lag associated with the response, and that lag is not necessarily pleasant driving a car. Big difference between a turbo car and a normally aspirated car is that lag. So what they've done with Pista is that they've made the response curve for power and torque into a linear curve as opposed to a turbo curve. So what does that mean is that the response of a turbo, usually you get immediate, there's a lag, and then you get a response. Very quickly you get horsepower and torque, and then you go on a flat portion of the curve before you reach the highest RPM, where it doesn't matter between 6,000 or 9,000 RPM, you don't get additional horsepower or torque because now you've achieved most of it with the turbo engaged. So what the Ferrari has done with that non-linear curve, they've linearized the curve by changing it, software wizardry, to change that curve into a linear response, which is very similar to a normally aspirated car. So, and that means they've made it such that at lower RPM, not all the torque is available. So instead of going up very fast on that steep portion, they've made it linear to go up just like a normally aspirated car, and they've made it available in the higher RPMs that you get not the flat portion of the turbo engine, but just like a normally aspirated car, you get that linear response, which is awesome to have on a track. So, okay, so that's linear turbo. That's where the license plate is and what it stands for. So the exhaust. Everybody talked about the sound of Pista before it came out, because the comparison with 458 Speciale or 430 Scuderia and 360 Challenge Stradale, which I used to have one, and everybody was wondering if the sound is going to be interesting because it's a turbo car, and would it have that awesome sound. And I was myself was not sure whether that was going to be the best sounding car either. But once we got it, driving the car, I can tell you the sound is just absolutely fantastic. At any RPM, this exhaust sounds just gorgeous, just gorgeous. So the exhaust is made of Inconel. It's a space age material in the aircraft industry. They use them quite a bit. It takes high heat and it's lightweight, so it's an alloy. And what else I can tell from here is, well, we got these options with the carbon for the diffuser and this piece that goes below the engine cover, and that's routed in the back. So the engine is, as we talked about, it's a really masterpiece. I got the carbon pieces in the engine as well, because you know, you really want to show off the engine on these cars, because it's just like a jewelry. And I'm gonna open it up that we can take a video of it. So you can see the carbon pieces here. It's just like a jewelry. It's just beautiful. The arrangement is so nice, and it's very nice to show it. One thing with the Spider car is that you don't get to see the engine is covered, but with the coupe you get to see the engine, and adding these carbon pieces as the option is almost a must. It's just part of the looks of the car. So well, that's the engine. So we can move around here, and so the wheels, my option was silver color with black calipers. I didn't want to take attention away from the wheels, and I like the silver color because when you get a darker color and you drive the car on the street, you really don't see any sculpture of the wheel itself, because it's all black if you get it black. But when you get silver, actually you can see that, especially that you can see this dish thin wheel show up when you're driving it. I really like the silver wheels better than black and darker wheels. Okay, so here is the breathing part. Just like human beings, engines need to breathe, so this is where it breathes, and also provides cooling for components for the car. So I got almost all carbon pieces options for this car except for this, and I didn't really like to have the carbon piece there. I like this plastic actually with this color, which turned out nice. And then coming to the front, of course, a very prominent feature of Pista is just what they call the S-duct. And this is obviously for aerodynamics. It's almost like a wing. If you come and look at it with the video, you can see there's a hole that goes all the way down and it's open. It's almost like a wing for the front of the car. So the air going here and coming out creates a downforce to have better handling. Okay, so you can see the carbon pieces outside, and the choice of the stripe. This is not actually black. This is a dark blue color. Most Pistas is silvers outside and this blue is inside. I chose the reversed order on that one. And now we can take a look at the inside. So we can look. And you can see I have the shiny carbon fiber on the wheel, and I got carbon fiber pieces here. I think this is actually just not optional. All Pistas have it. And the interior is pretty standard from that perspective. I got the fire extinguisher and some really not really a lot of options for the interior, except you could have chosen like a matte color carbon pieces there, which I really didn't care for the extra cost. It didn't make sense. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start up the car, and he's gonna take the video in the back to hear how the exhaust is gonna sound. So we get a sound that, and we're gonna end this review with the sound of the Pista as it starts up. Okay. Well, that was my first review of Ferrari 488 Pista. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.